First things first, I think the biggest news coming out of the NBA over the last week has probably been the Suns trading Josh Okogie and 3 second rounders for Nick Richards. Like, it's a trade. It's not a big one. It's probably not as big of a scale one for as Dorian Finney-Smith or Dennis Schroeder, frankly, as small scale of trades as those were already. Um, but the Suns needed front court help. And if Nick Richards can provide severe front court help, it will really raise their ceiling. And that's why I think this is a big deal of a trade. Um, First thoughts, Anthony? Do you have any first thoughts on this? I I've followed Nick Richards. I think he's a lot more interesting as a fantasy basketball player than a real basketball player at times, if I'm being quite honest. Um, but it's not Yusuf Nurkic.
No, it is not Yusuf Nurkic. Let's see. So the league average. I mean, he's right. He's right on. Actually, he has a defensive rating of 110, and the defensive rating of the league this year is 114. So he's right around league average there. He put up solid numbers to your point. Like he's definitely a huge fantasy god, especially when Mark Williams is out. Seems like he's an active presence on the boards. He can put up double doubles when he needs to. So he feels like one of these. I don't know if Valanciunas type empty stat, but a double double like machine is like a big body around the rim, and Nurkic has been awful. So yeah, I think it's a solid little move, and we'll see if maybe Phoenix is trying to figure out a way to secure Jimmy Butler, and this is a prelude to that. There's obviously a lot of tough stuff that would need to happen for that to work because you got to send Bradley Beal somewhere. But seems like an interesting move for sure, and it's always good to get back a few draft picks if you're Charlotte.
Yeah, I think if you're Charlotte, I mean, you don't care. You're just like,
Yeah.
screw it. You got seconds. And Nick Richards is just kind of taking away minutes from um, Mark Williams, right? Um, Nick Richards also
Yeah.
only played 20 games this season. He's not particularly healthy player all the time. I mean, he's played 60 games the 2 seasons before that, but he played 50 the season before that. Played 18 his rookie year. Um, Also played 18 his rookie year because he wasn't playing much. In general, let me give you some comps. Like the way my brain is thinking about this trade is like Nick Richards at worst will just be Yusuf Nurkic, and then at best, could he be Dan Gafford? Could he
Mm.
give you 90% of Dan Gafford? Like if he's Dan Gafford for 25 minutes a game, or if he's like a little bit worse than Dan Gafford for 25 minutes a game, who I already don't think is fantastic, frankly. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Dan Gafford gets like 18 minutes a game now in the Mavericks. Had a great game last night, actually. Shout out. Um, but like if he's Dan Gafford, I could talk myself into
Let's,
this a little bit more. Like, I don't know. If
yeah, I
he's if
mean,
he's Dan Gafford of the playoff run last year, or the Mavericks playoff run last year, you know, think that definitely raises the sun ceiling.
yeah, I mean, can I interest you in a little like Luke Cornett comp too, potentially?
I
Like
like
big
that.
body, rim runner, obviously does not shoot.
Yeah, Cornet is
Um,
weird because I feel like we haven't seen him. I would love to see him more in like a. I would love to see him play 30 minutes a game for like 30
yeah,
games straight. Because that's the thing. I
right.
think Nurkic is also old, but I think it's always easy to criticize these centers who do have to play 30 minutes. Like it's hard. Like Gafford looks better playing 25 minutes than he does 35. But yeah, I don't know if you can play Nick Richards for 25 minutes solidly in the playoffs,
Hmm.
and you play 10 minutes of KD at the center, and then you piece together the next 10, it helps out. Then you could play Nurkic for 10 minutes. You feel probably better about that than Plumlee, who is. I
Just
mean,
old.
the thing is, I mean, Plumlee's rough, but Nurkic is rough too, right?
How does he compare to like a Clint Capella?
I feel like Clint Capella, I think that's a good comp, but I think Clint Capella is better offensively than Nick Richards. Nick Richards
Sure.
has these really bad defensive moments, but I think Nick Richards is actually like not that good offensively. Like that's from my eye test. Like I don't, yeah.
Mm,
Like I think Capella gives you a little bit more offensively. Like this is not, I don't
sure.
know. Um, like Nick Richards is averaging like 3 turnovers a game. like, like he's a center, man. Um,
Yeah, you shouldn't be doing that.
Yes, and he's giving you like 55% of the field this year. It's like not he's not giving you the 70% that like Lively's giving you at times, you know. Um
Right.
I think Capella's a good comp,
Yeah.
though. I
I
think
mean,
that's interesting. I wonder maybe I'm overrating Capella a little bit. Because does Capella even go for a first rounder? I don't know.
right.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. He probably does.
One first rounder
One
or two second rounders. Or no, more than two second
more
rounders.
like
I mean,
four,
yeah, yeah.
or like heavily protected first.
Now, if this was like an OKC or a Memphis or like a Houston getting these second round picks, that'd be pretty hype. But I don't know. I don't know how good Charlotte is at drafting players late in the first round
But
or in the
honestly,
second round.
but what we're seeing from second round picks now, and I think this Kings situation kind of opened my eyes to it. Like second round picks are kind of valuable. Like some team will take you can get an expiring contract or a guy that you can trade for and then extend the second round picks. Like you could get Dorian
Hmm.
Finney-Smith. So like maybe the move isn't to use the second round picks, but keep rolling them over until you have a
Sure.
season where you might need to buy. And then you can go buy Dorian Finney-Smith and then maybe extend them. Like I think
Hmm.
maybe that's the play rather than drafting the second rounders. And maybe I think that's what other teams
Tend
like,
to
yeah, because
do.
if you're bad, yeah, you'll just use the second rounders. Like if you're
Right.
Portland, for Portland's a bad example because they have a lot of guys. But like the Nets, the
Mm,
Nets are the Nets will be down to trade you cash considerations for your second rounders come draft time. They don't care.
right.
So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Hmm.
I agree, and also like, but I will say like OKC is not going to use a second rounder for the next like 5 years.
Yeah, right. Just their ability to
Add players
scout talent
using
and,
the
and
second, yeah.
yeah. Overall, I don't know what grade I would give this. Probably a B at the moment, a B plus. It does something positive for the Suns and it gives the Hornets draft capital. So it's probably a B both ways. It's like it's like in fantasy when
Yeah, it's
you
like
when you trade $2 in one direction or something.
we trade $1 for Trey Man, like I did earlier
Yeah,
this year.
yeah,
Or like,
exactly.
do you remember when we traded? We did our Peyton
Peyton
Pritchard
Pritchard.
Koulibaly trade. Yeah,
Yeah, that
that's so
was
good.
great.
That's reminding me.
Yeah, so
Um,
funny.
I bought you on that trade, by the way.
Yeah. Happens. I love my boy Peyton
Yeah,
Pritchard.
I I
So
listened. I listened to your advice, bro. The one thing I will say, like, I'd like this trade because it's like to me, it is a ceiling mover in some way. But the Suns, they do have their 2031 first round pick is swappable. They could swap that. So
the
could we
2031 first
first
round
round
pick.
pick. They could swap that first round pick. They could use that and give swapping rights to another team. Did you maybe did you just blow your most tradable salary in a Kogi by doing this? I don't know. So that's a worry I have. But maybe they're going to trade Nurkic. Maybe now Nurkic is a tradable salary. So we'll see what happens.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Like I
mean
don't think the Suns are done. Like I don't think the Suns are done.
they,
If they
they
are
better.
done, it's all rough.
Suns are in purgatory.
I don't know what's wrong with that team. I actually really like yeah. They should trade Tyus Jones. Sorry, this is another thought I had. They should trade Tyus Jones because Tyus Jones is not extendable at the end of this year.
Mm,
Oh, now
yeah,
my head
you're cooking.
now I'm cooking something up. Like, is Tyus Jones and Nurkic enough money to go get you someone pretty good?
What's their money?
Multiple,
What's their money combined?
probably around. I can't
Like
check right now.
15, 20,
Oh, combined 30.
30, you think?
That I think. Wait, I don't have it up in front of me. This is my guess. I'm pretty sure Nurkic around like 18 to 20, and I think Tyus is around like 8 to 10. Oh, did Tyus take a minimum? He might have taken a minimum.
Damn,
Yeah,
good for him, but
Tyus did take a minimum. You're right. He's at 20. It's 20 total. Okay, so Nurkic and Tyus get you 20 million. Throw Grayson Allen in there, you get to 35.
ooh,
Are you just straight up adding a player to this team? Nah, but if they're smart, you go you take if you're smart, you take Nurkic's contract, you take Tyus Jones's contract, you take the swappable 2031 pick, and you trade them to like a team with way too many guys. You trade like the Nets for like 6 guys. And then you
oh,
cut and then you just cut Damian Lee, you cut Bull, you cut Ty Washington, you cut Monty Morris.
Sure, and get more depth.
Yeah, that's what I would do. By
That's a
the way,
route.
that's my GM brain going. We never
Yeah,
see those types of trades, but
right. Interesting. I mean, that might be a way to figure it out.
that'd be kind of fun. Now I'm like
Between
kind of
Tucker.
or like
Damn.
do you call Portland and you're just like or like maybe Washington because you get Brogdon, can't get Kuzma. You might be able to get Kuzma actually. Could you get Brogdon and Valanciunas?
Mm,
And
mm.
Jared Butler is also hooping.
Right. Yeah. If Nurkic is heading out, yeah, then you have your front court depth at least somewhat solidified.
And you
Then you
still
just
brought in a guard to kind of make up for the lack of Tyus Jones, and then both those guys are extendable. Because that's the thing with Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones is good. He's just not
yeah.
extendable. The Suns have no assets. You can't not use the Tyus Jones asset.
Could Tyus Jones be going back to Washington? Yeah.
Oh, they would cut him so fast.
Welcome
They,
home.
they would
That's
cut him so
crazy.
fast.
Welcome
Um,
home.
poor guy,
Yeah.
man. Tyus Jones is like so good, but he's like a pretty
He's
unique player. Where like, yeah, I don't know. He's like not bad defensively. He's like quite good offensively.
yeah.
He's just like 6'1" point guard.
He's just a
Like,
good point guard. He'll find a
but
home.
I hope so. I hope he finds a long-term home. You know, he finished top 5, if I remember, in six-man voting like 2-3 years ago.
Understandably so. Wow. 12-6 and he's shooting 42 from three. I mean, yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, it's a really good player. I mean, and the thing is, he plays like 30 minutes a game for every team he's on, it feels like, too. Right. So
Yeah.
he's got to be pretty good. Um,
Right.
so, anyways, that's my son's thoughts. That's like my GM brain working, but I think they're not done. I think it's a Nurkic plus Tyus Jones trade incoming, and we'll go from
Hmm.
there.
Heard it here first. You
I
heard it
think
here
it's totally
first, Spittin
yeah.
Hoops.
Stand on it. You know, they're paying
So,
Nasir Little until 2029.
it's like the longest contract in the NBA.
Fun fact, you know, because they cut him, they waived and stretched him like 4 years, like not 4 years ago. I think last season, before they made the Beal trade. So, yeah,
Wow.
that's a fun little tidbit.
That's a great tidbit. Great fun
Anyways,
fact. Yes,
with
sir.
that, do you have anything else on this trade with
Um, No, man. I mean, Dennis Schroeder and Nick Richards. That's what the trade deadline is right now. So
Yeah,